So also, if anybody has a question about dating or love, Bruce Starr is a love coach, so feel free to comment um, as we're talking. I'm sure that I will go ahead and take moments um, to look there.
Yeah, I mean, so many people are just stuck in relationship or lack of them. They're alone. They don't know how to get off the spinning wheel that they're on with the internet dating.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are really stuck on that internet dating wheel, and they can't get off. They can't figure out how to get off, why should I get off? Look at all the pictures I get to look at.
Yeah.
You had an incredible point last night on the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'd rather you say it than me, because I think it's super impersonal
Mm-hmm.
to just go by someone's picture.
Looks alone.
I mean,
Yep.
When I was growing up, if men or people were accused of doing that, that was like the worst
Yeah.
insult.
Like
That was like saying, you're really surfacey. You're really what's
shallow.
with you? When are you going to grow up?
Yeah.
But now it's okay for everyone to do it.
Mm-hmm. And then people also kind of think like, well, I can have whatever I want, because everything's so accessible. Now, I'm going to get started on you though, Bruce. My first question for you, Bruce, is why and how did you get started as a love coach?
Oh, I love that question.
Because I'm so, even as a psychic medium, when people come to me about questions regarding their love life, I'm like, so, I mean, obviously I can use my intuition, I can use my third eye to see into the future, to see what's going on there. However, as far as love advice goes, all I can teach people is how to love themselves, because I have not successfully engaged in a really good partnership yet. So how did you get started?
Very practical and very down to earth reason.
Okay.
I remember I was about 25.
Okay.
And I was living in Boston.
Wow.
Boston has 125 colleges and universities, which means that every September, tens of thousands of new women that came to Boston. And as you got a little bit older and got a little more comfortable with being in school, like a sophomore, middle or junior, whatever it was, you realized that this was a fun place to go to school.
Mm-hmm.
And I dated a lot. And what happened was I wasn't understanding that some of the girls that I really wanted to go out with weren't that interested in me. I didn't know why. Because I can be a very, energetic. When I like you, you know it.
But your Venus is in Aries.
Yes.
So if anybody has Venus in Aries, you are going to go after what you want.
You're uncovering me already, Rose. Okay, so that's right. I mean, very few people would have. Yeah.
You are the initiator. Also, if you don't want to be an initiator, ask somebody where their Venus is. If they have Venus in a fire sign, they're going to take the lead.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's wonderful information.
So you weren't understanding why people were.
Well, the ones that I really wanted to be with weren't that interested in me, and the ones that I really weren't that interested, I couldn't shake them. It's like they got almost like took it as a challenge or excited about trying to win me over. And if I don't want to be with them, I don't want to be. I want to move on to someone I might want to be with.
Yeah.
That really confused the heck out of me, and I said to myself, I want to learn more about people. I want to learn what turns them on and what turns them off.
To help you out with the ladies.
To help me out with the ladies. Just simple as that, very basic. And because I felt that I was missing out. And even though I was having lots of relationships, they weren't really happening for me. Hey, there's Dustin, our buddy Dustin from Dallas. What's up? What's up, Dustin? Yeah, baby. So what I did was, the funny thing is, I was reading the astrological newspapers, columns.
Okay.
And I happened to have been down here in Florida, and I was reading this guy named Sidney Omar.
Okay.
He's an old timer.
No idea. Okay.
Old timer.
Okay.
But for some reason, for a couple of weeks, everything that was going on that day, I come home that day and he'd say, "This is what happened." I go, "What the hell is this?" And when I got back up to New England where I lived, went to school in Boston at Northeastern University, I said, I want a reading with this Sidney Omar.
Okay.
I called the New England Astrological Society, and they said, well, where do you live? I said, Watertown. They said, Watertown, the president of the New England Astrological Society lives in Watertown.
Wow.
Not only did she live in Watertown, she lived down the block from me.
Oh, God, that's so lucky.
And we became great friends. She became a wonderful teacher. As a matter of fact, I might have her on the show sometime. I found her a year ago.
Okay.
We did a radio show together. She's still doing, her thing up in Boston. Jane Graham, I'll give you a shout out, hello. And from that moment on, she started teaching me astrology and started teaching me about my chart and helped me understand what was going on.
Yeah.
It's like, for instance, I'd walk into a room, and I noticed this for years, and some of the people would instantly take a liking to me. And some of the people would instantly take a disliking to me.
Mm-hmm.
I said, what the hell is that? I just walked in the room.
People are intuitive, though. Even if they don't call themselves intuitive, everybody is.
So I found out that I have Pluto in my first house.
Me too.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So we do have a lot from the notes that we've been saying to each other. We do. I'm sorry to hear that, Jemiah, that you have Venus and Gemini. Very changeable, hard to make up your mind when it comes to love. But anyway, So I started learning about astrology. And from that moment on, I started on my spiritual journey of 40 years. But that's to answer your question a long way. I'm really glad I get to do it that way because
so accurate.
Whatever it takes to get you going into your spiritual path, do it.
Yes. Yes.
So that's how I got started doing all this work.
So tell me about, so when you started as a love coach, what were some of your first clients? Do you remember?
Well, here's what I did.
Okay.
About 15 years into studying, I started doing radio.
Okay.
And I had a show down in Boca area called the Luvcoach Show. Oh, people are loving what we're doing.
Thank you.
Cool. Very good. Thank you. Hey, there's Margie again.
Hi, Margie. So this was in Boca Raton, Florida?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did a show on WNN, the Winners News Network.
Okay.
Now, this Winners News Network was an unbelievable show because what it did was it played little vignettes of all the great motivational speakers like Wayne Dyer. I can go through a whole, but instead of playing music and songs.
Did you guys ever get Dale Carnegie?
No, because I think he died.
Okay.
But I've taken Dale Carnegie courses and I have his books.
I love Dale Carnegie.
He's the best.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's got me started in my speaking career. It was Dale Carnegie, and then I did Toastmasters. And then I went on to the National Speakers Association.
Wow. Okay.
So I started doing a show. And the same year I started doing a show, someone's sending a lot of love. That's great. Thank you. The same year I started doing a lot of, we're up to 14 people, so that's really nice.
Thanks for joining in, everyone.
I heard about this thing called America Online.
AOL.
Yeah, I said, what is this AOL? My producer friend of mine out in LA.
I was just talking about that this morning.
Feeling all that love that's going by.
I know, we're catching the hearts, guys.
Yeah, thank you. What were you thinking about this morning?
Oh, I was just talking about AOL with somebody this morning.
Well, I never heard of it. And I was visiting out in LA. I worked out there. I went to see a producer friend of mine. He says, what are you doing now? I said, I'm speaking about relationships. He says, are you on AOL? I said, what's AOL?
Yeah.
And he turned his computer around and he showed me this thing, which,
it was like the beginning of everything as far as instant messaging.
That was it.
Yeah, that was it.
Nobody else had done anything like that. I think that whatever they did, they might have done like little groups where you can leave each other messages.
Facebook is like a result of all of that.
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly.
Yeah.
So AOL, they said if you open up a room on AOL, you can reach people all over the world, all over the country in a chat. No video. Brady, stop. So I opened up this room called Relationship Coaching.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And this was the scariest darn thing I've ever done. Because I'm in this room by myself about 10 o'clock at night. And I'd never done this before.
Okay.
And I'm sitting there for about 3, 4, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. No one came into this room.
Okay.
And about 20 minutes later, I'm still there because maybe I'm doing something else, watching TV.
Yeah.
But I'm leaving
But
this
you're
room.
still there. Okay.
Someone comes into my room. And it was like, what do I do now? And she said to me, like most people, is this real? Is this for real? I'd say, well, try.
Mm-hmm.
This particular story, out of the 6,000 detailed conversations, documented conversations I had
Mm-hmm.
over the next 10 years with people on AOL,
Yeah.
this first one I had was the craziest.
Well, what happened?
I'll tell you.
Okay.
Because it's really very interesting. She said to me, I live out in California, and I'm really looking for love. Hi, everybody. Isn't that nice, all that stuff going on? I'm really looking for love. And I got online, and I met a guy in New York. And I flew,
Oh, geez.
but they don't know this is wrong yet.
Because during
This
that
is so
time,
new.
you don't have like FaceTime.
So
or
new.
anything.
No warnings.
I got a story for you, by the way, too. Yeah.
That full pie, you're going. And what happens is, AOL, what people think they're feeling when they fall in love on AOL,
Yeah. No.
is what's happened, the computer days, computer technology, your thinking takes over.
Yeah.
On AOL, your thinking takes over.
Yeah.
And when you think,
You're detaching from your emotions.
you're detaching from your emotions, and when you're having these conversations with people on AOL, whether they're neutral or physical or sexual,
Mm-hmm.
you think you're falling in love.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, you don't even know the person.
Mm-hmm.
You've never seen them.
Mm-hmm.
So you think you're
You
falling
don't
in love.
even know what their home looks like or
Nothing.
anything. Yeah.
Your mind explodes
Yeah.
with excitement.
Yeah.
It's like being in high school.
It's like being understood for your intellect too is kind of a big deal.
Well,
Sometimes for some people.
people will sort of go along with what you're saying if they want something from you.
Okay.
If they have a little bit of con in them, they will make you think that what you're saying, oh, yes, I agree with that. Oh, yes. I feel that way too. And meanwhile, this person is going, I'm connecting with someone.
Yeah.
This girl flew from Los Angeles to New York. And this guy was, of course, very nice,
Okay.
took her home,
Uh-huh.
locked her up, and wouldn't let her out. She was scared to death. If he would have just, she said in this interview, if he would have just been cool,
Like not a psychopath?
he could have
Kinda
had
cool?
me. He could have had me. I was ready for
What
him.
do you say to somebody like that? Like
No.
watch your ass or what?
Never, in general,
Yeah.
females never travel to a man. Never, ever, ever.
Yeah, because you're not even in your
You're
You
out of
can't-
your
you can't
element.
call
You have no
anyone.
idea about anything. And there's more to the story.
Okay.
Females never travel to a man. And even if you're meeting someone from the same city, never meet at your place or his. Always meet at a neutral location. And on top of that, thank you, Margie. On top of that, don't plan on meeting for 3, 4, 5 hours.
Okay.
That first meeting should be a quick lunch,
Quick lunch. Got it.
coffee.
Okay.
Don't even get involved with dinner. Don't even get involved with someone paying for this or paying for that. Although
Mhm.
that's what a lot of people want.
Mm-hmm.
They want their dinner paid for, and that's a whole different ballgame.
Oh yeah, ladies with the free meals.
Everything costs.
Mm-hmm.
Everything you do costs. There's no free meals.
Yeah.
So anyway, she was freaking out. She was in New York. She didn't know where she was, what she was doing with this man who had her locked up.
Wait, was she using the internet while she was in that situation?
She got on the internet,
Oh my
and
god.
she started talking to someone in St. Louis
Okay.
who said to her, get out of there. Just do whatever you can. Get out. Come and see me. I'll rescue you. Come to see me in St. Louis. I'll take care of you.
Another love potential was doing that. Oh,
She escaped from this guy. She went to the airport. She flew to St. Louis. The guy picked her up at the airport and basically did the same thing. Held her captive.
Oh.
You can't make this stuff up.
She didn't learn her lesson the first time. God.
So then she comes into my room a couple of weeks later and explained this story to me. It was like, wow. So, ladies, the internet is a great place. I would never say it isn't, but you can't go with your intellect and think that you're feeling love. It has to be a person-to-person thing. I don't care if 98% of the people in the world are just relating over the internet or just texting. You can get lost in that all you want, but you're not going to find the love and intimacy and kindness that you would in a one-on-one relationship, personal relationship. Thank you all for your all your
and
thumbs
thank you for telling us that story. Gosh,
Can't make that up.
when AOL first came out, I was 11 or 12, and both of my parents worked. So my older sister, who's just a year older than me, myself and my little brother would get on AOL and be like, boom, on there. And you know what? Child molesters pedophiles flocked to us.
Oh my God.
And we were kind of too young, and
Sure,
our parents were at work,
sure.
so we'd be like, hey, so and so is calling us. It would be a grown man, and we'd all grab a phone and
How
be like
exciting was
listening.
this, right?
You know what? Like, we were just dumb kids.
Let me tell you something. You're bringing up a very, very important point.
Yeah.
When we started having to focus on money,
Mhm.
because money was being siphoned out of our lives
Right.
by $4 a gallon gas.
Yeah.
Even that alone,
Uh-huh.
imagine going from 70 cents a gallon to $4 a gallon.
Okay, yeah.
Imagine every week, twice a week,
This was in like 1998.
money's being siphoned out of our accounts,
Mhm.
putting it all to gas and paying bills.
Mhm.
So when that happens, both of our parents have to go to work to make it.
Mhm.
And that led to the breakup of the American family unit because mom
Mhm. It's gone.
wasn't at home watching your butt
Mhm.
and making sure you're not doing something stupid.
Well, they caught on when they started looking at the phone bills. And they're like, why are you calling, Milwaukee? Why are flowers being mailed to the house? You know what I mean? So that's my fun little story. Luckily, thank God, nothing happened. But when AOL first came out, I think it was just new for law enforcement. I think it was new for everybody, but it was a opportunity for, abusive
Yeah.
people.
Absolutely.
So
that's how I got started, and that's how I got started being a relationship coach. So over a 10-year period of time, I was able to take my expertise, talk to people, hear 6,000 stories. I've written a book about it.
okay.
It hasn't been published, but eventually it will, and it'll help 1 million people. I want to tell you the original title of this book.
Okay.
And some people get scared when they hear this title. I call it Body Traders.
Body traders. Okay.
What is this, some sort of slave?
Sounds kind of.
Okay.
Yeah.
When I tell you the concept, which is no such name in the dictionary, of course, you'll understand. Now, when we shift from coming from love, last night we talked a lot. Look at the Body Traders. I said, what the hell? What is that? When we talked last night on the radio show about first love, you talked about your first love.
Yeah.
I talked about mine.
Unforgettable.
Very vulnerable time, to share that.
Yeah.
So I give you a lot of credit. I'm glad I got a chance to do that. Thank you, Margie. Bruce, the one night.
And Shining Armor
On
AOL.
On AOL. Thank you. Yeah.
Seriously, had you not have been there, who knows what would have happened to that woman?
And when you think about it, you've helped 6,000 people over a 10-year period of time not get into trouble. I'm not thinking about that till right now.
Mm-hmm.
But her bringing that to mind is like,
it's.
I kind of made a little bit of a difference.
You're right. You did. And that's the thing about coaches and even spiritual
You
workers.
never
Like
know.
people like us underestimate the differences that we're making.
So
You know?
Philip is saying, this is so enlightening and informative. Thank you for sharing. We appreciate your comments, really do. You guys have a question, feel free to ask it. So,
Yeah.
So after I was able to share what I learned to those people, to those 6,000 people, and that really taught me a lot. It shocked me. I thought I was just there to help them and give them answers to some of their problems. But what I learned from them, from their stories, was just unbelievable. And what I learned was, we shifted from existing here in our hearts for how we chose our relationships to thinking about relationships. And when you think about relationships, it's a totally different ballgame. When you think about it, you're not saying, she is so sweet. She is so kind. She laughs at my jokes.
Yeah.
She is, man, she's just so warm.
It's almost like people are willing to overlook their feelings and somebody else's behavior that they might not even like for something else.
Oh, yes. People are, we're going in so many different directions now, and I have a hard time getting back to where I want to go. But right now, if somebody, I've met a lot of ladies who really took a liking to me. And when they found out that I didn't drive the right car or had the right house or lived in the right neighborhood, you know what they did? They didn't even say goodbye.
That is so
They
rude
walked away from
and insulting. I've met a few women. Like, okay, because I've lived in a lot of different places. I've lived in Alaska, Virginia, Colorado, and now here. I think Florida is the most vain and materialistic place I've ever lived. And I have literally received advice from women who said, Rose, if you want a man that is stable, you're just going to have to be more vain. And you're going to have to look rich. And you're going to have to go where all the rich guys go. And I'm like, I couldn't do it if I wanted to.
There was a book called, those girls came out with a book a bunch of years ago about how to play a better game.
But it's not a game.
It's not
like checkers.
No, it's not about playing games. You shouldn't learn to play better games to get a game player. What good is that? That's just craziness. So body traders, let's get back to that.
Body traders.
So when we start making choices and decisions, thinking about them, we don't go, she's so sweet, she's so kind, oh, she's so warm, she makes me feel so cuddly, or he, whatever. We start saying, what are they? Not who are they. What are they? What do they own? A woman stereotypically, don't get mad at me, a woman stereotypically, what does he drive? Where does he live? What house does he live in? What neighborhood? What job does he have? They start making choices like that. Men, please don't get mad at me, stereotypically, how sexy is she? How big are her parts? How youthful looking? How sexy is she? And those are all very intellectual things.
Yeah,
now,
it's almost survival based, but not really. I mean,
when you talk about Florida, it is, in a way, if people aren't making a lot of money down here, they've all moved from someplace else where the economies were a little bit stable.
Yeah.
And they're not making the kind of monies that they want to, or are they living the kind of lifestyles that they used to live when they were married. So they're frantic. It's just the way it is. So they're down here trying to rewrite that life that they lived up in New York and Long Island, and they're panicking.
Or even, I noticed that some people, they take pictures of themselves in this beautiful atmosphere, the palm trees and the exotic plants, and it makes them look more rich. So for me, what I've noticed is that people are trying to look more wealthy just by virtue of looking like they're on vacation.
Yeah.
So just an observation of mine.
Yeah. So the pressure is on for everybody to meet someone who has money.
Yeah.
And it takes you out of your heart, for sure. Makes you it makes you a compromiser. Because like I said, if I start talking to someone and they don't hear the right answers from me, they just walk away.
Yeah.
No matter what they thought of me.
Yeah.
Right? So now.
Oh, it's brutal.
So I'm talking about people exchanging something for something else, not offering. They want to take
Yeah.
If you have enough of what I want,
Yeah.
I'll take that and then I'll give you what I have.
Yeah, they're kind of like,
Yeah.
what can I get? It's like, sorry to interrupt,
Yeah.
but I dated a guy that kept asking me how business was. How's business going for you, Rose? And I'm just kind of like, what a turnoff.
What does that have to do
It's
with
like,
relationships?
What,
right?
like, I had 2 dates with you and you're asking me every time I message you, how is business going? I didn't meet you with a briefcase in my hand.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I didn't try to make a deal with you, kind of thing.
So when you have people that are compromising their choices, in the old days, now, if you have enough of what I want, I'll give you what I have. A man, if you have enough sexuality and looks, and you can make me look good when we're walking down the street,
Yeah, like a trophy.
I will open up my bank account and
Uh-huh.
I'll spend money on you and I will take you into my life. Well, in the old days, that used to be called horse trading.
Horse? Okay, yeah. Wow.
If I can buy your horse, I'll give you money. If that horse looks good enough to me, I'll give you money for it. It's
Mm-hmm.
horse trading. You give me I'll buy what you have if I want that.
Mm-hmm.
But with bodies,
Mm-hmm.
I called it body trading. If I'm a man and you have enough sexuality and you have enough looks and the body parts that I want, I'll give you what I have. I call that body trading.
Okay.
And that's the title of the book. Where did I get that title? From the 6,000 stories that people shared with me
Yeah.
online on AOL, how they were making choices for relationships. And if they got their heart, basically, to summarize, if they got their heart broken when they were younger, they were too vulnerable, they were too afraid to risk their hearts again the same way.
Oh,
And
I'm there.
everybody is.
Oh yeah.
To some extent. And we're lost in space when we're not coming from our heart. Scary. It just is. It just is.
Loneliness is really scary too. Yeah. It can make you sick, I think.
Yes, of course.
And I think that loneliness and solitude is really dangerous even for some people.
And that's why I'm so driven to do the work I'm doing.
Uh-huh.
I am absolutely swimming upstream being a male love coach. I mean, business people can't get their hands around that.
Yeah.
They're not the least bit interested. Thank you for your support. But it's true. And even when I'm doing this radio show, sometimes when I have to talk to a sponsor, I have to think to myself, are they going to get turned off because it's a relationship show? Or are they going to get, is that interesting? Now, I have to tell you that every single employee and manager that I've spoken to, when I told them what the show is about, they go, oh, wow, that is so exciting. A relationship show. It is so needed. Nobody's doing that anymore.
Yeah.
But by the time it gets to the person spending the money, who I haven't met,
Uh-huh.
not so easy to get them to be a sponsor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, I could be.
So okay. Because you and I both know, I'm sure many of the viewers here know that the economy is kind of tough right now. So let's say I'm a woman and I've never had children, but I want to have children. But I need a man who I know that can at least meet me halfway, and I will be able to stay home and provide for my children.
That's ideal.
That's ideal, but I don't want to be too materialistic when I approach a man. But at the same time, I need to make sure that they can be a provider if that time comes.
You're not.
How do you find that balance?
You're not being too materialistic. The problem is that when people meet each other at a club or a bar, the first question is, "Hi, what do you do?" That's not the way it should
No,
be.
even as a parent, when I meet other parents, that's, hi, what do you do?
What do you do? Now, in a relationship foundation, that's not the way to start a relationship. Take your time.
Mm-hmm.
Don't interrogate
Yeah.
right from the start. But you know why we have to do that? Because we can't afford to spend time with someone who doesn't have
People
the
are
money.
afraid of wasting their time.
And having feelings for someone and finding out later that they don't have what it takes to support your family. I'm not being insensitive. This is very tough stuff.
It is really tough.
But
you have to find a good balance.
You have to find a balance.
Yeah.
When you talk to someone, you can't just say to them, what do you do? I remember when I lived out in Los Angeles for a while, I remember watching this, about 50% of the people that went up to a girl, went right up to them and said, "Hi, I'm an agent. I'm pretty powerful in town." And about 50% of the women would react, "What is your problem? What do you mean you're an agent? What is the matter with you? Why are you approaching me that way?" Well, now
okay.
it's so common that if you don't approach someone that way, you're going to get beat it.
Yeah.
So things have changed.
Yeah. You know what? You may or may not know about this, but recently what has been brought to my attention from a few different sources on Facebook is that now there are websites, and I think this goes along with how some men are raised to not connect with their emotions. But there are websites dedicated to men learning how to manipulate and mind control women.
Oh.
Have you heard of that? Because that is a thing now that has been circulating, going viral, and a lot of women are kind of pissed off about it. Like, why are you manipulating me and trying to mind control me? Do you think it has to do with a lack of self-esteem? And if so, also, how can women not be manipulated?
It's such a cutoff from your heart. And no one can feel comfortable being mean to anyone, being manipulative to anyone. I don't care who you are. The more cut off you are from your feelings, the better the chance of trying to manipulate someone to get what you want. So you have so little self-confidence. Remember I told you about the story in New York?
Yeah.
The woman said, if he would have just been cool, he could have had me all he wanted all week, all weekend. But for some reason, he kind of freaked out and tried to have me be prisoner.
That's really scary.
And that ruined everything.
That's like everybody's worst nightmare.
Look at all the love we're getting.
I know.
People need to feel better about themselves, almost no matter what. If you hear anything from this interview, it's this: don't judge yourself harshly, no matter what. Even if you've gone through tough times, be good to yourself, be kind to yourself, because that is the key to finding someone in a relationship. If you're beating yourself up, you're going to only attract others who will want to rescue you or beat you up, depending on their stuff.
That's an interesting thing that you said.
Thank you, everybody, for your support.
I heard once, too, that if a man is coming into a relationship as a rescuer, then there's something kind of iffy about his own ego, and he's doing it for his ego.
It's uneven, okay?
So a man can't be a rescuer.
Women or men should not be rescuers. You know why? Because a rescuer thinks of themselves up here.
They think of themselves higher.
And the other one is trouble. So you're not starting a relationship from an equal place.
Okay.
And here's the other thing that I bet you and hardly anybody else will have thought about. When someone does want to be with you for your problems, they're putting themselves higher and better than you, which is not good. But they're also being there for you as a savior.
Yeah.
Not for who you are,
right,
but how they, in their minds, can save you to feel better about themselves.
Yeah.
And here's the really rough part. Because how many times have you heard stories about someone coming from out of the country, and they came here to meet someone, and this, like these Russian girls.
That's so scary to me.
It is. The Russians or the South Americans, they come here, and you take them into your life, and you hope that you're going to be able to you'll fall in love with you, right?
So is this like a mail to order bride? Do people even do that
anymore?
Yes,
of course. Oh, yes. There's even a TV show. There's a TV show about bringing someone from out of the country and marrying them in 90 days, something about that.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So anyway, here's the problem. Most of the time, because the other person was not coming and meeting with you from their heart.
Yeah.
They were coming and meeting with you for their head.
They want to get out of their country.
They want to get out of their country. And when they get out and they're with you for a few weeks to a few months, because they really weren't. Now, if they were with you for love, that's great. And you really need to be able to tell the difference. But if they were with you to get out of their country and to be able to get here, what happens a lot is after they start feeling their oats, this foreigner, and they start feeling great about themselves, all of a sudden they start losing interest in the caretaker.
Mm-hmm.
and they change their mind.
Okay.
And the caretaker is brokenhearted
Mm-hmm.
because they thought this was going to be about love. It never was a foundation for love.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be a very harsh and ugly relationship because 9 out of 10 times she will change her mind
Yeah.
once she starts meeting other friends and gets it. Whatever happens, once she starts feeling her oats.
And I couldn't imagine doing that, going to another country and having to deal with the culture shock and having all these expectations on me as well. That's kind of like slavery almost, like just being bulldozed.
And if you don't want that slavery, the other person who brings you in is going to get mad.
Yeah.
And angry with you.
So here's a really good question. Now, as a love coach, do you think, because I hear this all the time, do you believe that children learn how to love and how to be loved by their parents? And if so, kids who were not so much loved by their parents, do they always end up in bad relationships, or is that not true to you?
Kids absolutely learn from their family. And if their family is not there for them, they learn everything on the streets.
Okay.
They learn everything from kids their own age who know nothing.
Yeah. Or even like if you don't have a father figure, or if your father's not there for you, you're going to go possibly for older men or just for any guy.
Any guy who pays you attention. So when you started talking about being 12 or 13 or 11 or 12 or 13 and you were home,
Yeah.
and your parents weren't there, and dad was working hard for you.
Yeah.
He was working his butt off for you.
Yeah, for a 3-story house.
He's not to blame,
Yeah.
but he wasn't there.
Right.
You didn't get the love
Mm-hmm.
that you needed from him. So where do you go?
We got
You
on the
go
internet.
outside the family, and you will do anything for love.
Yeah.
You will do
Some attention.
anything for attention if someone will see, they know
Mm-hmm.
exactly what to say to you to get you.
Yeah.
These are 17, 18, 19, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40-year-old people.
Talking to a child.
They know exactly how to manipulate you.
Yeah.
They know exactly what to say to you. And you will fall for it every time because you don't know better. Even if 100 people tell you not to do it, what do they know?
Because you're getting your emotional needs validated. But parents, watch your kids. I know.
Love
I'm a
your
parent.
kids. Find time for them.
Yeah.
Don't
That too.
not love them. You have to be there for them.
Listen to them when they're talking about their emotions. Notice when they're feeling different, because they're not always going to come out and say something either.
Don't wait for them. Ask them what's going on. Ask them about school. Be as attentive. I got to share a story. I don't know if I should even share this story.
Well, you have to set your kids up for success in all areas.
Mhm.
You're the first example.
Yeah, that's right. So things that kids are thinking now because they don't have love, that's where all the suicide comes in. Why am I living?
Mhm.
Why am I even here?
Yeah. It's like when
I
love is so conditional.
I just lost my grandmother. I don't understand what life is about. If my grandmother just died, look at all the love we're getting. My grandmother, what is life about? Why did my grandmother die? God forbid if a parent dies.
Oh man.
It's like, you can understand unless kids get a lot of attention, love. Unless kids get love,
Mm-hmm.
they could possibly do anything for attention or to end it.
Yeah.
And we have to be very, very aware of that possibility.
We do, because there's a lot of bullying these days. Now, this is really interesting. So these days, and I know this is a little off the topic of love, but I noticed that these days there's more attention on bullying in schools. Now, back in your day, I'm assuming it was kind of a free-for-all, and you just had to learn how to be tough.
Gotta fend for yourself.
Now, do you think that this affects people in their love relationships later on?
See, what's happening is when we got older, we realized how scarred we were
Okay.
by the bullying.
Because we have boundaries. Like if somebody says something mean to me, I'm like, bye.
But a bully
Mhm.
doesn't just take no for an answer.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what a bully is.
Mhm.
A bully is all over you and not in a nice way. And that's the difference. You can't just say goodbye or no to a bully. They will, if they sense just like animals, if they sense weakness, to make them feel better about themselves and make them feel strong and super, they're going to be all over you. They're going to be mean and nasty. If they're so empty-hearted, they're going to be all over you to make themselves feel better. That's the source of bullying.
To get the control back that they don't
feel in
have.
control somewhere.
Yeah.
And to feel high self-esteem for a few minutes.
Yeah.
When they're coming from total low self-esteem. So
Okay.
it's common sense how to figure this out, but sometimes you don't take enough time to figure it out.
Well, I think that it's true too for us millennials. It's almost like we're so aware of abuse because it's kind of all out in the media what abuse is, what it looks like, that we're kind of scared of conflict. And I know spiritual people are scared of conflict because they turn their noses up and go, oh, conflict isn't spiritual. I believe that everybody's still a human being. Do you know what I mean? And everybody's going to endure some kind of conflict. Now, what is your advice on conflict in general in relationships?
Conflict has nothing to do with spirituality. Spirituality is expressing who you are, how you feel.
And your boundaries are who you are, basically.
Yeah. And, having conflict, the difference between, you could have mean conflict. I could say to you, go to hell, you ugly thing, you. Well, that's horrible. That's terrible. You're there to make someone else feel bad. But another way to deal with the conflict is, look, you really made me feel bad.
Yeah.
And, maybe thank you for giving me the opportunity to look at something in my life that I need to look at. But you don't have to be mean.
Yeah.
The biggest word for me, bar none, is a 4-letter word. The biggest word for me, kind. Kindness. People need to be kind. Kinder to themselves and kinder to other people. Every interaction that you have should come from kindness. Because guess what? People think we're so different. You know what? I've learned through my 40 years of spiritual learning, we are different blades of grass from the same lawn.
Oh, yeah.
We are different waves from the same ocean. If there's a storm, I feel it the same way you feel it. If I make you feel bad, I feel terrible.
Not only that, you teach people how to treat you as well.
Yes. So realize that we have different bodies, but we're all from the same source.
We are.
I don't want to make anybody feel bad.
Yeah.
I want to make people feel good because when I can make people feel good, I feel good.
Yeah, it kind of, to hurt somebody else hurts you.
Ooh.
Now I have a question. This is a very personal question. Because I'm kind of dating, like I don't really, okay, so I've tried the online thing, and so far it seems like men are, I'm going to be really blunt here. It seems like they're only online looking for people when they're horny. So they're not even making decisions based on anything real. Mm-hmm. So it's been horrible for me. But not only that, I feel like my other option is to go out to a bar.
Okay.
And I feel like that's not a healthy place either.
I got you covered.
Okay.
I mentioned this on the show last night. I didn't talk a lot about it. But I really believe, and people are going to go, speed dating circles? Oh, come on. I really believe in speed dating circles. I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
Most people are used to these circles where the wrong kind of people show up.
Yeah. 70s
and 80s, and overweight, and wrinkly, and all that. And that does happen.
Uh-huh.
But I'm going about this as a business.
Okay.
I'm going to have speed dating circles. As a matter of fact, I want you to help me with them.
I would love to.
Because with you doing it with me, we're going to get the right people.
Maybe I'll find the one.
Well, here's why speed dating works, and then we'll talk about other aspects of it. When you do speed dating, now the first time I got introduced to this concept, it was speed networking.
Okay.
At a bank.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. So 40 people got together in a circle, and inside were the women, and they got a chair out, and outside were the men with a chair facing in. And every 2 or 3 minutes.
That reminds me of, I forget what it's called.
Hitch? The movie Hitch? No. Okay.
Musical chairs.
Yeah, it is. It's exactly that. Every 2 or 3 minutes, we get to speak to a new person.
Okay.
It's safe.
Yeah.
You don't want to give me your card, or if I ask you for your card and you don't want to give it to me, you don't.
And in a few minutes, this person's going to be gone anyway.
They're going to be gone. You get to meet 20 people, 20 men. And I'm almost going to guarantee that meeting that 20 men, one is going to spark your interest.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all it takes. But you're meeting in a safe environment. You're looking good. You're wearing nice clothes. They're being told, if you're going to come to the Love Coach speed dating event, look nice,
Mm-hmm.
be nice, and be prepared to meet interesting people. So that's what I'm doing. My first event is in a week or so from now.
Okay.
At a restaurant we're going to go to, actually, right after this. So speed dating, you can meet in a controlled, safe environment,
Okay.
10 or 20 people in an evening, and you'll probably go out with someone.
And it does sound safe too.
It is safe.
I think that's a great solution, because if you're a spiritual person, you don't really want to go to a bar.
Mm-mm.
You already know, like, even if you're extrasensory, you can sense that those darker entities flock to those areas.
All the alcohol around, and when you go to bars, it's not just alcohol. It's always a mixture of all this other stuff. So
aside from that, just the internet thing and the apps.
The energy of going to a bar. It's not in your best interest. But speed dating circles, Love Coach speed. You know what I do? And you can't just come to my circle. You have to send in a picture of yourself, and you have to tell me a little story about yourself.
Okay.
And that's how I can sort of control the people that come.
Okay.
Now, these speed dating circles are for anyone 35 to 65 and up, but not in the same circle.
Okay.
The 35 to 50s will be in one circle,
Okay.
and the 50s and up will be in another circle.
But I'm only 30.
But you're looking for a guy 35
Okay.
or more.
True.
I know that about you. You're not looking for a 25-year-old.
I mean, I'm open to whatever works.
Okay.
Of course, me having 2 kids, a 25-year-old probably isn't mature enough for me unless he has.
Yeah, exactly. Let's be realistic. Let's start.
Trying to be a little realistic.
I think you should be one of the ladies that comes to the speed dating circle.
Okay.
And here's the thing right now. I've got plenty of ladies.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to send me a picture and a short bio about themselves.
You need men now.
I need men now. So let me just put this out there. If you're in South Florida and you want to go to a speed dating circle, email me or contact me here, or Luvcoach, this is your Facebook. Contact me at Luvcoach, Luvcoach1 @gmail.com, and tell me you want to go to a speed dating circle. And then I'll ask you, please send along. Look at all the love we're getting. Wow.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm going to leave all the information in the comments after the video is over as well.
Good. Because I want men. You know, there's plenty of single men out there. Plenty.
Oh, trust me, I know.
But they're just like.
But they're like cherry picking out there, and they're using, and it's like, God,
let's get back to our hearts a little bit and meet people person to person, face to face. These are going to be wonderful, wonderful events, I promise you. Now, it's not going to stop there. And I didn't tell you about this.
Okay.
My goal for doing these speed dating events is not just to have people meet for 2 minutes or 3 minutes. It goes much deeper than that.
I'm sure it does, knowing you.
What I want to do eventually is, all right, let me tell you another theory of mine.
Okay.
You won't be able to relate to this at all. I'll tell you why in a second.
Okay.
If I got stuck in an elevator in the 70s or the 80s, there was no cell phones.
Okay.
It was just an alarm.
Mm-hmm.
You might have been stuck in that elevator for an hour or 2.
Okay.
If you were in that elevator with someone or 2 people, what did you have to do? Talk to them.
Yeah.
Might even get to know them.
Yeah.
Out of boredom, you might have said, where do you live?
Mm-hmm.
Where'd you go to school? You had to have a conversation with them. Where'd you go to college? What did you study? All of a sudden, I know more about you than I know about half the people I've spoken to in the last, month. You keep going. And I'm not saying that you're going to marry them or date them.
But it's more personal.
But you might become a friend of theirs.
Yeah.
When people live through a catastrophe, they become friends forever.
Mm-hmm.
It just brings them together.
Mm-hmm.
So part A is that. Part B is by someone getting to know you, they're saying, what a nice person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have a great guy for you.
Mm-hmm.
I know a really great guy.
Yeah.
You have agents out there. So this happened because you got stuck in an elevator.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? We don't get that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as that elevator gets stuck, we get on a cell phone and go into a panic state and yell and scream and all. We don't get to know anybody in that elevator. So
help! I'm stuck with a real person. Get me away from them.
What do I do now? I have to talk to them, right? So my goal is to create the perfect, ideal stuck in the elevator theory system. You know what I want to do? I want to have 2 and 3 day weekends.
Okay.
Where people come together at a resort.
That sounds really nice.
There's no trips anywhere. They don't go here, they don't go there. We spend 2 or 3 days together, nonstop. And I'll have with me experts that will help people, put them through different classes, opening their hearts, meditating, doing yoga, eating the right foods, putting people through group work, where I'm sitting across from you.
Yeah.
And you know what's great about this? At a bar, if you meet someone, what do you have to do to possibly get to know them? You got to say some stupid, idiotic something to get their attention.
You know what? I have to just say one thing that I really hate if I'm sitting in a bar. When a man comes up and says, you should smile.
Ooh.
Like, I don't even know you and you're telling me what to do.
It's all insensitive. They have to say something to you to get your attention.
Don't do that. I don't owe you a smile. Just don't.
So what happens is that you want to be in a situation where you don't have to say those insensitive, stupid things.
And you're drunk too, so you're not really...
None of it is good.
Yeah.
But if you would come together at a Luvcoach executive 3 day weekend, which I call for the man or woman who has everything but love.
Yeah.
They have everything. They're doing great. We come together for 3 days, a Friday, a Saturday, a Sunday. We spend all day together. And you know, if you're in a group with 8 or 10 or 20 people and you notice someone
Mm-hmm.
and there's eye contact and you notice someone, your heart is opening up a little bit, you notice someone, you're talking to someone, you're talking to them again, all of a sudden you're relating on a personal level. And if you know you're going to be there for 3 days, they're not going anywhere, you're not going anywhere, I guarantee the end result from a weekend like that is going to be some love affairs.
Oh, yeah. That sounds really nice.
So that's my ultimate goal.
Okay.
Of having these people come to the speed dating circles so that they learn about these other things that we can do where they have to invest in themselves. They have, of course.
I love that you incorporate, having healthy food to eat, because I'm all about making decisions based on how you feel. And there is nothing worse for connecting with your emotions than a poor diet.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane. Like I quit eating meat. I detoxed from meat. I incorporated a little bit back again
Mm-hmm.
for some other experimental health reasons. But I noticed that I feel energy and my own emotions so much more
Look at all
when I have a more plant-based diet. I drink more water. I drink less coffee. I don't really do alcohol anymore. God, it's so important because you can't really connect with somebody else's emotions unless you really know where you're at.
They love you.
I could talk about this all day.
Because what you're talking about is what it takes to be in a good relationship. Body, mind, and spirit.
Yes.
It's not just one. It's body, mind, and spirit.
Mm-hmm.
So you're talking about everything that it takes to be in love.
Well, we have reached an hour already. So I just want to thank you so much for the opportunity to get to
we should do this on a sort of regular basis.
We should. I mean, because I know that people are having a hard time. I'm having a hard time. I'm a single mother. I told you last night that, so I feel like it's hard for me. Of course, I know the law of attraction. I'm owning this. I feel like men don't want a family. They just want one person. And you know how you were saying,
Remember when you said to me,
I said, you can't own it.
I'm pre-programming about sponsors.
I'm working on it.
You're pre-programmed about men.
That's
and most
something-
people are.
Well, what I'm doing now is I'm going for friendships with men, like never before.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I'm starting now. Because I'm not going to start with a romantic thing anymore.
Right.
It's going to be
Right.
solid friendship or nothing.
Yeah, because when you start on the romantic thing, basically what you're saying is, I'm sexually attracted to you. And there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes I believe that that's the way the universe gets us together.
You have to have an attraction.
Right.
You can't not have an
Right.
attraction.
But then slow down. Do not jump into bed.
Mm-hmm.
Use all you can grab onto to then get to know each other. Because let me tell you something. Here's something I learned. This is a very deep thing. Every interaction that you have with another person, especially
Mm-hmm.
a sexual one, where a part of you goes into them, wherever it goes in, a part of you is touching them in a very intimate way, creates a bond between you, even if you don't think it does.
I feel like men don't. I feel like a lot of men, especially that I met, are disconnected from that.
They're all disconnected. They're mostly disconnected. I want to find
Thank
you men. I want to find you men who want to reconnect. I want to have men's groups.
Like
I wanna have men
men
come
don't even
together.
cry. They don't realize it's like peeing. You have to
They're
do
not
it.
feeling their feelings. They've become stone.
And then in turn, women have become manipulative to make up for that lack of connection.
And
So
also women have become very masculine, have become stones too.
I have been guilty of that in the past.
It's, it really isn't a man-woman thing
It's
anymore.
more like energy.
That's right. We have to learn the energy that's out there and shift it around.
Yes.
And it starts with us.
Thank you so much. Well, I guess we've reached an hour, so thank you so much. And you guys keep
And there's so much more to do, and there's so much more to talk about.
There is.
We've just touched the little tip of the iceberg. So I think we should do more.
Absolutely. So keep following us. I'm going to post all the links to his information in the comments below.
Thank you for your love, everybody.
Yes.
We're watching all
Thank you
these
so much.
beautiful hearts.
And shout out to Dustin, Margie, Hannah,
Veronica,
Michelle, everybody. Thank you so much.
Michelle.
And happy dating.
Bye-bye,
Bye,
everybody.
guys.
See you again soon.